everyone continues to join. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and we will get underway. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay, Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita series. We had a bit of a break because we were in LTP program, which was a very amazing program here, conducted by Swamiji, like he's doing in a lot of other cities in the US as well. So a lot of learnings that I will keep on bringing to the sessions as well. But yeah, I'm glad to be back and I hope the feeling is mutual and we will get back into our rhythm like we always do every day. So we'll get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru like we always do. I'll recite it and then we will get to the shloka. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Okay, so we do this recitation to take blessings from Guru, who is equated to Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. The reason for that being, he provides us the knowledge, like Brahma, he maintains the knowledge by doing a yogakshem, where he preserves all that we need and deepens that knowledge. And he's like Shankar because he dispels the ignorance. And that is why a Guru is equated to the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. And then we seek blessings from original Jagat Guru, that is Lord Krishna himself, who recited this beautiful song of Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years back for the benefit of all of us. So let's get started. We are in 4.14. Now, regardless of when you join, like I always keep on saying, it's never too late because we keep on revising the key concepts, and then you're welcome to ask questions, write it in the feedback tracker. And then the way we pace it is that all the foundational elements, they keep on getting repeated periodically. So you are never too far behind and all the concepts would be covered so many times, so frequently that it gets drilled into and in our DNA itself, I would say. So let's get started. I'm going to recite this shloka and then you're welcome to follow along. Namam karmani limpanti न मे कर्म फले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न सबध्यते. All right, do we have anybody, volunteers who want to recite?
Radhe Radhe Shamji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Shamji. Namam karmani limpanti Name karma phale spraha iti mam yo vijanati karma bhinsa badhyate. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice, Shamji. Good to see you back. Radhe Radhe. Okay, let's take the remaining hands.
Radhe Radhe Tarunji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Namam karmani limpanti Name karma phale spraha Iti mam yo bhijanati Karma bhinar sabadhyate.
Wonderful, very nice. Good to see you, Taranji. Good to see you back. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Rahulji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Namam karmani limpanti Name karma phale spraha Iti mam yo bhijanati Karma bhirna sabhadyate. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice, Rahul. Yes, Prabhat.
Yes, Prabhat Bhaiya, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Namam
कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्म फले सप्रहा इति माम योभिज्वनान्ति कर्मभिर्न सब भागते
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhat. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Riya ji,
Radhe Radhe, Riya ji.
Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Hmm.
Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha ite mam yo bhijanati karma bhirna sabhadyate.
Wonderful. Very
Radhe
nice, Riya
Radhe.
ji. Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Okay. Last but not the least, okay, I see Varsha ji. Lakshmi ji, congratulations for changing your name. Go ahead, please.
It's my daughter who has logged in
Okay, okay. No, please go ahead.
yesterday, so
Radhe
it is like
Radhe.
that.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Can I?
Yes, please go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yo vijanati karma virna sabhadyate.
Wonderful.
Radhe Radhe.
Varsha ji, Radhe Radhe. Okay, I see two more hands, so let's quickly take those. Uday ji, thank you for
Yeah,
turning up.
Radhe Radhe, Uday ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्म फले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न सबध्यते. राधे राधे.
Uday ji, Radhe Radhe. Okay, Sandhya, go ahead.
न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्म फले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न सबध्यते.
Wonderful, very nice. Okay, so let's get started. In this, Lord Krishna is talking about, see, the previous one we had spoken about the caste system, looking at this whole caste system in perspective, how it is meant to be understood as opposed to how it is commonly not properly understood in context of Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism. So now in this one, Lord Krishna is saying, activities do not taint me. Activities, let's pay close heed to each word here. Activities do not taint me. Then he goes on to say, nor do I desire the fruits of action. And then he says, the one who knows me in this way is never bound by the karmic reactions of work. So that means there is something which dictates that whether you get, implicated by karmic reactions at work or not. We will talk about that topic. So let's start with the activities aspect of it. What are these activities? Why does somebody undertake activities to begin with? Okay, we'll talk about that. So before we get into that, happy Friendship Day. So we will take a little bit of an inspiration on Friendship Day. And because it is Bhagavad Gita, of course, we'll take inspiration from Lord Krishna. So here's Lord Krishna's official form here, but let's for a moment forget about his official form, leave aside his Aishwarya Chintan and look at some of his pictures from his childhood, where he demonstrated his friendliness or friendship with his sakhas. This is Govardhan Leela, that's where he did that, right? And by the way, when this Leela happened, his friends actually had an impression that they were the ones who were doing the heavy lifting by their sticks and everything. And they said, this guy is so lazy. First of all, he made us graze the cows, okay? And he would simply sit beneath a tree and enjoy and take sleep and made us do work. And now that such a great calamity has befallen upon our town, our village, and this guy is not even able to, not even pulling in his weight and just putting his little finger and standing there. Okay, so that is the impression he gave to his friends. But anyway, they loved him regardless, okay? Then, of course, as a Sakha, he rescued Draupadi. We all know that Ambar Avatar, as it happened, and the Draupadi used to consider Lord Krishna as her Sakha friend. Okay, that's when he called upon him after she had exhausted all the options. Lord Krishna intervened. That is how he saved him. Then there was another Leela that he performed, like the butter. We all know how he used to do he used to get naughty, and everybody would actually look forward to Krishna coming and stealing butter from their house. Okay, so he used to do that and let his friends savor it with him. But the Leela we are going to talk about today is one of the most beautiful Leelas of with Sudama. So we know the story of Sudama. We'll talk about how God actually, the concept that when you approach me with love or you shed a tear, I'm obliged to reciprocate. That is beautifully exemplified by this Leela. So we all know Sudama used to be his friend, childhood friend. And as the story goes, they both had gone to Sandeepani Muni. Okay, so when they had gone to Sandeepani Muni, once they went, I think, to the forest to get maybe, the firewood or stuff like that. And that's where the Guruma had given some chanas to both of them. In fact, that was being held by Sudama. He was having it, and they heard a tiger, they climbed a tree or something like that happened. And then Krishna asked for it, and Sudama was feeling hungry. He took all the chanas all by himself. And Krishna asked for him, and he said, I don't have it. And he said, I could hear your teeth chattering. And he said it was because of the cold, okay, not because of that. And when they came back, when the Guruma came to know about it, she told him, now you will have to live in abject poverty because of the act that you did, because of your selfishness. So anyway, that was a story. And he was in abject poverty until one day his wife told him to go to Krishna, who had become a Dwarkadhish at that time. He was very embarrassed, but nevertheless, he went. And when he went there, he was barefoot in measly clothes, and as you can imagine. And when he went there, when Krishna came to know, he came running towards him. When he came to know that, a guy has come and to meet him, claims to be your friend, he just came. And when he saw Sudama, the tears started rolling down his cheeks looking at him. And in fact, he washed his feet when he saw the thorns and the stone on his feet, because he had come barefooted. He started washing it with his tears. That is the expression of love from Krishna. And then he was carrying some puffed rice as well. So he was very embarrassed to bring it out, because when he saw the luxury of the palace and everything, he was like, okay, what kind of a gift I have brought for my friend? And he was very shy to take it out. But Krishna, being Krishna, he knew, right? He's omniscient. He forced him to take it out. And when he took it out, he took the first mouthful of that puffed rice. He gave the entire Swarglokas to him. When he took the second one, he gave all the Bhulokas to him. When he took the third one, he was about to give his Vaikuntha also, and then Rukmini had to intervene and said, hey, hold on, that's not something you should do. Where are we going to do? So Krishna, basically, it just shows the magnanimity of God when it comes to discharging his duties as a friend. Forget about duties. I mean, he goes over and above, as we have seen in so many Bhagavatam Leelas as well. So this was a beautiful Leela we quickly wanted to cover as part of Friendship Day. Hope you've gone through that Leela. It's a beautiful one. You can read through it as well. But let's get to our shloka for the day now. Now, the question here is activities. Lord Krishna is saying that, if you look carefully at the word here in the shloka, activities do not taint me. So the question is, why do we undertake activities? And the fact is that no one, including a foolish person or an insane person, performs any action without an aim in mind. Everybody has some kind of an aim or a motive in mind to perform an action. Let's delve a little deeper into this topic now. Why do they do that? There are typically 5 aims. Okay, 5 aims that people perform any action for. Okay, the first one is, keep going deeper, immortality. Right, there is an inherent desire for us to stay alive. Immortality, because if you look at our true identity, we are soul, and soul is immortal. So that desire is as natural to us as our, just because of the fact that we are immortal. So this is very natural desire to us. Nobody wants to die, right? We think that when we die, or when we shed this body, gross body, which is technically called death, our existence will cease. That is the conception. Abhinivesh. It is, this defect is called abhinivesh because of ignorance, because we consider ourselves as a body. So there is a desire for us to continue to stay alive in this body. So immortality, that is one thing where you may say, people say we are busy, we don't have time, we have to earn and for our old age or otherwise. But if a doctor tells them you are going to, if you don't take a break, you will have to leave this body within a month. The same person who claimed to be super busy, who had absolutely no time, will stop doing everything and start taking care of their body, or whatever the injunctions doctor has given. That much we love ourselves. Nobody wants to die. Okay, so immortality is one of the things, drivers for people to actually take on any activity, okay, for the sake of prolonging their life or to continue to exist. The second reason given is knowledge. Okay, there's another, we undertake activities to seek knowledge. God has given us 5 senses. These are called Gyan Indriyas. So through our eyes, we are gaining knowledge, right? Through the sense of smell, we are gaining knowledge about things. In fact, it's pretty interesting. If your eyes are closed and you taste, if your eyes and nose are closed, and if you taste a pear or an apple, you will not be able to differentiate the two. Okay, that is how it goes. So all the engineers, they are giving you knowledge, and based on that, you are taking decisions. So knowledge is another endeavor for which we keep on doing activities or performing activities. Like a sponge, we are gaining knowledge. Most of the time, knowledge is happening to us and we are experienced, we are building it, and sometimes we are systematically acquiring as well. Like we go to LTP, which recently happened, right? That is a more formal, structured way of gaining knowledge, as opposed to letting the knowledge happen to us from all the quarters, through Google, through friends, relatives, and all kind of advertisements, news, and whatnot. The third is independence. We need independence. People want to become entrepreneurs so that they don't have a boss. Right? We all love our independence. I want to work on my own terms. That's a different thing, that everybody has a boss, right? You still have to deal with federal officials and regulatory bodies and stuff like that. So nobody is truly independent as such, but there is a craving for us to be independent. And that is why we undertake certain activities as well. Then there is a desire to control. We all have that, right? It starts with at home. We want to control our spouse and then kid and then people around, until we want to control the driver on the road and news and pretty much everybody, politicians also, and the cricket team selection as well. So we want control. That is why we undertake activities. So then that's another driver. And then there is another driver called happiness. We all are seeking happiness, right? You've spoken about this concept. It is inherent, again, like something which is very natural to us. Nobody teaches us to be happy. In fact, we are seeking happiness, all of us, right? We spoke about this concept because we are a fragmental part of the ocean of happiness, and as a part, we are seeking the whole. The day a child is born, it declares to the world that I have come here for happiness. How does it declare to the world? It can't even speak. It declares it by crying. Crying is a way to remove the misery or the pain that it has felt when it has taken a birth. Okay. So happiness is something natural as well. And now sometimes I want to ask a question, isn't it happiness for everything? Yes, of course. Under the hood, if you go, if you explore, all the things that we're talking about here is actually for happiness only, even though it's one of the things. If you think under the hood, behind the bonnet, everything is one aim, just to be happy. So whether it is immortality, knowledge, independence, desire to control, it's a facade. Behind that facade, every action is to seek happiness. Okay, that basically sums up everything. Any endeavor that we undertake is to seek happiness. Even a person, nobody in this world, see, this is again an eighth wonder of the world. We all are different. We all are different. We know two people share the same retina scans, fingerprints, so many biometrics based on which our cybersecurity industry, identity and access management is based, because we are different. So uniquely, every person can be identified, right? Sniffing dogs, once they know the order of your body, they can sniff you out from anywhere, because we are different, we are unique. Even the vocal cords, they carry certain uniqueness about themselves that every person is different. Despite the fact we are so unique, across the globe, caste, creed, nationality, there is one common denominator that binds us. What is that? Desire for happiness. Can anybody claim, I don't want to be happy, I want to be miserable? Nobody will claim that. We just want to be happy. So underlying thing is, even though at a facade you may say, okay, I want to exert my control, I want to go for fame, I want like power, I like money. End of the day, you're seeking happiness. Why do you want money? So that you can buy things and objects which will give you happiness. So everybody in this universe is seeking happiness, and spirituality is all about taking us closer to that happiness, which is not only everlasting, infinite in extent, but ever fresh as well. It does not diminish, right? It once it comes, it does not go away. Okay, so under the hood, one aim is just to be happy. So every activity that you do is towards getting happiness. You eat food because you're getting happiness, then you stop eating food. Why? Because now my happiness has ceased. If I eat more, my stomach will start hurting. So you stop eating. You sleep. Everybody loves to sleep, at least I do. But then you get up. Why? Because you had enough sleep. If somebody tells you, you get 100K per annum, I'll give you 200K per annum, or let me give you 10 times more salary. All you have to do is sleep. Can anybody do that? No, they cannot. Why? Because their happiness now is in getting up and doing some activity. So any activity that we do is, end of the day, the goal is to gain happiness. Okay. Now let's move on. So I think we'll build on it step by step. So our aim is to get happiness. That's why we undertake any activity. Okay. So we are here. Let's move on now. Now, aim behind all actions is attainment of happiness. I think we have made that point clear. We have beaten this topic to death. Let's move on. Now, what happens? Wicked people, okay, which we are going to come to that. Lord Krishna talks about that as well. Now, and then you have, on the other hand, we'll talk about both ends of the spectrum, saints and God himself, like he takes avatar as well. Saints and God, they're also seeking happiness. No one is different. They're also going by the same law. How? Wicked people, they are pleased when he sees others in distress. When they see others in distress, the hidden motive is again to get happiness. They're also seeking happiness. And what do saints and God do? When they do something, they perform actions. They are also performing activities for the welfare of others because it makes them happy. They're also seeking happiness in that sense. Yes, Manjuji, you had a question?
Radhe Radhe Manjuji.
Radhe Radhe, Nitinji. I just could you please repeat about immortality in the last thing? Like what every person wishes to be immortal, or how that one?
Yeah,
I lost
basically,
that.
see, the biggest fear in this world is that of dying.
Okay.
Because we think we are this body, and when we depart this world, our existence will cease to exist. Okay, so people are scared of dying. Nobody wants to die, actually, to be honest. Now that's a different case. You're talking about somebody taking their own life and all. Okay, but typically people don't want to die. They think their existence will shut off the moment they die. And that is the biggest fear of this world. So immortality, and then we undertake activities to prolong our life. A lot of people, they think, a lot of activities they undertake, japa tapa, taking care of their health and all that stuff, because they have an inherent desire to live longer. Everybody has that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nitinji.
Okay, so we have made this point clear as well. So in case of two extreme spectrums I picked up, wicked people, they derive happiness in seeing other people suffer. There are people like that as well. And then, of course, saints and God, they take action because it makes them happy when they serve others. Okay, when they perform actions for the welfare of others. So their aim is also seeking happiness. So the point is, every activity that whoever takes in this universe, okay, they do it for the sake of happiness. And there is a technical reason for that as well. We have spoken about it. I'll not get too deep into that because they're all fragmental parts of the ocean of bliss. And as part of parts is always seeking the whole, right? Like water vapor, water becomes vapor, then cloud, then rain, and again comes back to the sea. So the cycle completes. Similarly, being fragmental, eternal, fragmental parts of the ocean of bliss, we are seeking bliss. It is inherent to our nature. You cannot deny that. You don't have a choice but to seek happiness. It's as simple as that. It's a spiritual law. Okay. So every activity that we are going to take on in this life is directed at gaining happiness. If you don't get happiness out of it, bliss out of it, you will go away from it. This is a very simple principle. Now let's move on. Okay, there's a car, you see that? Now you will take on an activity now. Okay, now before you jump to a conclusion that this is an auto-driven car, I will put a person on it. Okay, so this person is driving this car. Now this car is driving, this person is driving the car. Okay, and then what happens? There's a drunkard who comes in front and killed. Okay, now you all are judges here. Okay, or guilty or not guilty? What do you think? Anybody who wants to take this quickly? Is he guilty or not guilty? It's not a trick question. You can answer this. Yes, let's take maybe a couple of hands to drive the discussion forward.
Shyamji, Radhe Radhe.
Yes, Shyamji.
राधे राधे. Guilty हम किसके लिए पूछ रहे हैं? Drunkard के driver.
Driver.
He's guilty, of course. But he should have taken care. Yeah, Radhe Radhe.
No, he was at a perfect speed. Car was in a perfect condition.
Yeah.
He was driving perfectly in his own lane. Okay, and all of a sudden somebody drunkard came forward and got hit. Okay. Okay, you are saying guilty. Let's take maybe one more hand and then we'll move forward. Maybe two more hands.
Okay. Annapurna ji.
Yes, Annapurna ji.
Okay. Driver is not guilty, here because
50-50, one all.
he is not guilty. Yes.
One all. Okay.
Because it is not premeditated or anything. He was driving, everything was going on, and because the drunkard came to, because of his drinks. Yeah.
Point. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe we can break this tiebreaker one all. Maybe take one more hand.
Comments, there are 2 not guilties and 1 guilty. So
Kirti ji, I think let's take a new hand to see what would you have to say. Yes, Kirti ji, please go ahead.
yes, Kirti ji, Radhe Radhe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Radhe Radhe. Yeah, so I think that the driver is guilty because it was in his hand to be more aware and react and stop, the whatever the action he did.
Okay, 2-1. Maybe we'll have to resolve this. 2 more hands we'll take then. Okay, Kirti ji, sure. We'll get to that now. Yes, Rahul, go ahead.
Nitin, I was saying we have opinions in the comments as well, where it is 3-1, 3 for not guilty and 1 for guilty.
Okay, 3 for not. Okay. All right, so let's try to settle this. Preeti ji, you wanted to add something? Last one maybe.
Where is Preeti ji's hand?
Yes, Preeti ji, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say he's not guilty.
He is not guilty.
The driver.
So I think the people are going in for not guilty, which is fine. Now let me put another case for you. Okay. Here is a group of people, not group of people. This guy is going through the airport security. Okay. And he's got chemicals for liquid bomb. He's trying to smuggle that into the aeroplane. Nothing has happened. You think he's guilty or he's not guilty? What kind of a verdict would be pronounced against him in the court? He's trying to just take those into the aeroplane, liquid bombs. Anybody?
Okay, if I can quickly say my opinion. Like in the previous as well as this one, I think intent matters. Like that will decide if someone is guilty or not.
Great. So let's move on. Okay, so you brought in a point of intent, which is very true. Here, why is the part of it, right? So why part is very important, which is called intention. If in the court it is established that this guy had a motive to kill when he was driving, or he was negligent, or he was drunk, or he was overspeeding, something to that effect, he will be pronounced guilty. But if the intention was not there, and it just happened because this guy just came in front, he was following the rules, he was driving, as best as he can, but if somebody comes up, he comes up, right? Intention was not there, then this will not be termed as a murder. Okay, intention matters. On the other hand, no incident has taken place. They have not blown up the plane. Or let's say in a city, let's say Delhi or Bombay, There are people who are masterminding some kind of a blast. Okay, they have not done anything and they are caught planning with maps and everything. Do you think law is going to punish them or not? They will punish them. Why? Because even though the act itself has not taken place, but the intention was to carry that out. So the intent matters. So intention is key behind any activity that we do. See, we spoke about activity. Why do we do activity? Because we want to seek happiness out of it. Now, what dictates an activity is there is an intention behind carrying out any activity, which would determine, in this cases, I have taken up an example of guilty, not guilty, but I'm going to map it to the bigger example around it, the bigger concept around any activity that we take. Based on the intent, what is going to happen is the intention is going to dictate whether it is a binding act or a non-binding act. There are two kinds of acts we do in this world, either binding or non-binding. Every act. Now you may say act is the physical act. Lord Krishna says, Nahi kaschit kshanam api, not even for a second anybody is without an act. Act is even a thought that comes to your mind, right? In the second case, the intention was to blow up a city. Have they carried out that act? No. Will the law hold them accountable? Yes. And similarly, in this case, see, in the world, the judge has to go by prima facie evidence and the witnesses and so many other things. Right? The witnesses can turn hostile. You can buy the witnesses and you can change the narrative. In this case, God is the witness, God is the policeman, and God is the judge. Okay. And based on what you have thought and what was the intention behind that thought, either you will end up incurring a binding karma or a non-binding karma. Okay. Now, what constitutes a binding karma and what constitutes a non? What are the intention we are talking about here is the next question, right? What kind of intention can I have so that my karma becomes binding or non-binding, whichever one we want to choose. By default, it is binding. Okay. But you can make it non-binding if at all you desire. I see a couple of hands. Yes, Kirti ji, you had a question?
Yes, Kirti ji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. No, I'm sorry. I forgot to lower the hand.
Oh, no worries.
It was regarding the second question you asked about the person carrying the liquid bomb, and I wanted to say, yeah, they were guilty.
Yeah,
So,
good. Yep, yep.
okay.
Got it. Thank you. Annapurna ji, is it from previous or you had a question?
No question, but if you asked some question now,
No question.
and I can answer something you asked. What makes people to be bind to the karma?
Sure, please, you can add if you want to add.
Yeah,
I'm going to get into that concept here.
Okay.
No worries. So that's something we'll talk in much more detail. See, we will build the stepping stone to understanding actions and why we end up doing actions which constitutes a binding karma. Okay, step by step we'll go there. And then intention aspect of it, what do we do with our intention, right? How do we get to a stage where our intention behind the activity is such aligned that it is a non-binding karma? Now you may ask her, okay, fine, I will continue to do binding karma. What's the big deal? The big deal about it is that we keep on rotating in 8.4 million. If you do binding karma, that means it is something you have to bear the fruit of it. If you do non-binding, then there is no baggage for that karma. It's a neutral karma at that point. So the intention dictates that, right? That's the key concept here. So now this concept, we will go deep into that. Now the intention, now is that the intention alone is the variable here or something more as well is what we are going to talk about. Tomorrow, we are going to touch upon the topic of what is the biggest bane of humanity. Okay, and it is a very eye-opening topic in the sense that we don't understand, but we all are afflicted by it to varying levels. We are going to talk about that. Yes, I see a hand raised. Any questions on what we have discussed so far? Before we go any further, I want to present Soup for the Soul segment as well. It's something new that I've added. Go ahead, Sandhya, you had a question?
There's a question from Preeti ji. Is non-binding karma synonymous with liberating karma?
Non-binding karma is synonymous with liberating karma. That is correct. Both. Yes. Non-binding means you are not adding to the stockpile of your existing karmas. Okay. So it's like neutral, so to say. Very true. Yes, Shilpaji, you wanted to ask something as well?
Yes, Shilpaji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Nitinji sir, Radhe Radhe everyone. So what is the intent supposed to be for the non-binding karma? Or
Yes.
is there no intent? There has the brain can't be empty. So
True. The brain cannot be empty. So we will talk about that. Let's go back to the same thing now. I'm going to jump the gun a little bit. Here. Okay. But I was planning to take it up in more detail tomorrow, but let's touch upon it. Now, our intent is to be happy regardless, right? Nobody can deny that. If intent is to be happy, now the question is, are you seeking happiness for your own? You want to see any activity that you perform, there is a fruit of that activity, right? Now, if you want to enjoy the fruit of that activity, it becomes a binding karma. So the very first principle in Karma Yoga, Lord Krishna is talking about give up the phal or the fruit of your actions. When you don't have that in your mind, then it starts becoming non-binding karma at that point. Now the happiness, are you doing an activity just because you want to enjoy it? It is called a bhog, and bhog leads to rog. God says you need to do yoga. So when you do it for your own sake, then you accrue a binding karma around it. But when you do it for the sake of the pleasure of God, then it becomes a non-binding karma. At that point, it is a deeper concept which we will build on in the subsequent sessions. Okay. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. Now, if you want to progress in life, right? You want to do material advancement in life, right? People want to get promoted. They want to earn more. Now, there could be two motives behind it. I can earn more so that I can raise the standard of my living more, or I can enjoy more. And the second could be I could earn more so that I can give more. So both cases, the intent behind doing an activity varies, and based on that, you get the results. This is how it goes. So when you do it for a higher purpose, of course, the results are better. But when you do it for the highest purpose, which is for the pleasure of God, then it becomes a non-binding karma completely. And I'll touch upon this topic in more detail tomorrow, where I'll explain you where, based on the motive behind that karma, what are the different categories you could fall into within binding and then beyond binding. Okay. And that is essentially the science of work. That is why Bhagavad Gita is very, very practical in that sense. What do we need to do? Right? Repeatedly, we have spoken about this concept in the session that Bhagavad Gita is not asking us to relinquish or give up action. It is telling us to continue to perform action in the right spirit, so that that action is not binding for you and is actually purifying you, uplifting you, and taking you a step closer to the goal of life. That is the whole idea. And what needs to change? Does your action need to change? No. The consciousness or the intent or the thought process behind doing that action will change. Nothing else will change. You'll do the same thing. Arjun killed so many people. Did it count as a murder in God's books? No. It was multiplication with zero. Why? Because he was doing it as a matter of duty. If one person kills another person, in the court of law, it is a murder. He'll be hanged. Right? He might be subjected to capital punishment. But if a person kills another 100 people in a battlefield for the sake of duty to prevent the civilians, he will be awarded a medal. So really depends the motive behind doing that particular act. In both cases, it is killing somebody. Right? So how do you purify your motive behind your actions is essentially what Bhagavad Gita is repeatedly telling us about. And that is what we're going to talk about. So now, if I go back to the fundamentals, can anybody say I'm not going to seek happiness? Answer is no. Can anybody say I will not do any activity? Bereft of activity? Answer is no. In fact, every activity, we will talk about this concept more, is no activity in this world is bereft of sin. Like the smoke is covered, the fire is covered with smoke. Like there's a line of smoke around the fire. Similarly, behind every activity, there is some kind of a sin involved. Something as basic as speaking. A lot of Jain people, they put a mask in front of their mouth so that they can prevent so many microorganisms get killed when we speak. But can they truly prevent it? How far you can go? Some people, they don't even take a bath, because when you take a bath, so many bacteria, they get killed. When you eat curd, you know how many lactobacillus you are devouring. When you cook, so many organisms are getting killed. When you walk, when you talk, so there is no activity in this world which is devoid of sin. And that is why it's even more important for us to purify our intention and start offering things to God so that it starts getting purified. Otherwise, every activity in this world is sinful in that sense. It's kind of an interesting concept, but this is how it is. So we'll talk more about it. Now, nobody can be bereft of an activity. Now, how do we do an activity so that we are not getting further into the abyss of sin, but keep on pushing ourselves and uplift ourselves and have those activities work to our advantage, as opposed to those activities binding us further. Okay, so this is the whole idea about this topic. Now, I wanted to introduce another concept, and then we can take the remaining questions as well. I thought I will introduce another segment, which is soup for the soul. Okay, soup of the day. So soup of the day here's a guy called Vishnu Dutt. Now, Vishnu Dutt has hit a lottery. He got a Rolls Royce. Can you believe it? He hit a jackpot. But then, because he's not reading Bhagavad Gita, this is how he's using the Rolls Royce. You see how it using that? Now you say this guy is very stupid. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't understand the higher principles, we have hit a jackpot by getting this human life or this human body or the human intellect. But if you don't understand the higher principles, we are essentially doing exactly the same which Vishnu Dutt is doing. You know, you got a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce, but you are making horse bullet and doing all the basic activities, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and nothing more than that, which is kind of a waste. What a waste kind of a deal. So it's very important to read Bhagavad Gita, and we are fortunate. So let's make the most of this opportunity. Now let's get to the questions that anybody has related to the session, and then we'll move forward.
Wonderful new segment. Thank you, Nitinji, for this.
I'll introduce one thing, and if you have something interesting sharing, I'll bring it to the session as well. Okay, and call out the credits as well. Okay, but this is something I wanted to introduce because we can have something to stimulate our mind on an ongoing basis. Yes, Shilpaji, you had a question. Madhuji has a question too. So let's take the new hands and then we'll get back to Annapurnaji.
Yes, Shilpaji.
Yes, thank you. That answers my question. I just wanted to say thank you. I get non-binding karma. Thank you.
Sure, Shilpaji. And I'll talk about this concept in greater detail tomorrow. Okay, it's a very important concept. Intention, the science of work itself. SOW, they call it science of work. This is a very important concept and the most practical nugget you can take away from Bhagavad Gita. The science of work. We all have to do work, we all have to do activities, and we will continue to strive for happiness. But how we purify our intention is the key. And that is an ongoing practice that we all can get better at by repeated contemplation. So we'll go much more deeper into this topic over the next couple of sessions. Yes, Madhuji.
Hey, am I audible to all?
Yes, you are.
I want to ask you a question. Abhi, you have given the example of Arjun, that Arjun killed so many warriors because his intention was pure, and he all the surrendered the God all our activities. But after after the finishing the Mahabharat Yuddha, they all went to Himalayas for doing the prashchit, that we have killed so many people and all that. They all went to the Himalayas and Kedarkhand for after the Mahabharata, that we have done a very bad karma and we have killed so many people and so many Brahmins and so many all that. So
okay, I got your question.
It was good to go because everything they have done a very good thing. All the killings and all the things was instructed by the God itself, Lord Krishna. Then I want to know that is there any
I think
prashit
they
and
took Vanprasth beyond a stage, but let me give you a bit of a context who Pandavas see. That's where we need to have the complete picture. I was talking other day that Arjun himself, see, by the way, all the Pandavas were God realized. Okay, they were all God realized. So that was, they were enacting a Leela with God. And there are things that they do to set precedent for rest of the people, right? I think they took Vanprasth and that stuff. So that is again part of the Leela. Now you may say that, okay, when God went to a guru, does he need a guru? He doesn't need. But a lot of things they do to set an example for the society so that they can emulate that aspect, although they were not obliged to do that. Okay, so in those kind of things, we go by the Leela aspect of it without reading too much into it. But even otherwise, I think that was a Vanprasth state for them, that, okay, now they have taken care of the kingdom, discharged their duties, and it's now time to move past that. And that is why they did that. But actually, if you truly speaking, they were part of that Leela, and it was not a sin because it was performed as a matter of duty, especially by Arjuna. So they don't incur sin about that. Same thing happened with Hanumanji as well. See, when he killed so many people, he did a lot of Brahmahatyas as well, by the way, in Lanka. But did it count as a murder? It was not, because he was doing Ram Kaj. He was doing it as a matter of duty for God. So it did not count as a murder at all. So the point here is, when you do things as a matter of duty for the pleasure of God, it does not count as a karma at all. God says, I will multiply it with 0. I don't put any 1 behind that. And on the other hand, if you do something for the sake of your own gratification or otherwise, then it gets counted as a binding karma. Binding karma means there will be effect, cause and effect kind of a relationship. And that cause and effect varies. If you're doing karma, you might be doing noble karma also, so there is an effect. If you do a bad karma, there is an effect. And if you do a neutral karma, there is an effect. So we'll talk about it in more detail. But to your point, when you're doing it as a service to God, which is precisely what Arjun did or Hanumanji did, it is not counted as an act. It is not at all binding at that point. It is called non-binding or a liberating karma. They were anyway liberated souls. They were doing Leela. But for humans like us, anything that we do, keeping God in mind, right, and for the pleasure of God, is a non-binding karma and takes us a step closer to liberation or divine love of God. Okay, Ajitji.
There's also a comment in the chat, if I can quickly read it. Ganpriyaji says, life without Gita is eating the sweet with a wrapper and complaining about its lack of sweetness.
Very nice. That's a great analogy as well. Yes. Life without Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavad Gita is, it's like people think that spirituality is something you do when you have nothing else to do. That's not the case. Spirituality is something you do when you are doing a lot of things because it enriches our life. In every sphere and walk of our life, it provides the enrichment that it needs. Plus, provides us a perspective to lead a life properly, because it's a manual for human life. If you're using a product without reading the product manual, then it's a very risky proposition. And that's essentially what we end up doing. So Bhagavad Gita not only provides us the framework, but also takes us step closer to the goal of our life, because those are the principles that even if you pick up 1/4 of a shloka and revolve your life or center your life around it, your life will be a success. That is how powerful it is. Super powerful. It's like a ocean of knowledge that however many times you take a dip, you will come out with newer and better pearls from it. That is how it goes. Thank you for sharing that. Okay.
Ajitji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Ajitji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Actually, my question is that as we take the birth as a child, what is the status of our soul? Actually, normally a child is considered to be a clean-hearted, just like a god.
Mm-hmm.
So, what should be the aim of our life in that case?
So this is the interesting irony of life. We are born as a child pure, and then the colors of this world start falling upon us. We will learn all the 400 BC. In fact, the very first 400 BC we learn from our mother. or father only. Okay, I don't want to be biased towards mother or so, right? So there was a guy named Pappu, and his mother said, you know what? When the neighbor will come, you tell the neighbor, mom is not at home, mommy is not at home. So when the neighbor comes, she knocks at the door or rings the bell. She said, you know what? My mummy has told me to tell you that mummy is not at home. And she gets the first slap from his own mother and said, this is not how it's meant to be. So the very first lesson in 400 BC, the world starts teaching us, until we become so complicated and so further away from God that we have to work our way back towards becoming as innocent as a child. And even in Bible, it says, blessed are those whose hearts are like child, for they shall enter the kingdom of God first. So this whole process of spirituality is to become as innocent as a child, where God can take care of us as a mother. Does child has to do anything? No. It just simply cries and mother knows what needs to be done. So the process is to become innocent like a child, okay, when we work on our mind. So this whole impression, see, child is fine, because when they start growing up, their past sanskars also start manifesting, because before child they were again an adult, right? 80-year-old, 90-year-old, or whatever that was in their previous life, and they have accrued their sanskars from so many lifetimes. They will also manifest in due course of time, but part of that innocence is taken away by the impressions of this world also. And the spirituality is all about becoming as innocent as a child again, so that God can take control of you as a mother. And finally, we don't have to do anything when we surrender. But for us to reach a stage of doing nothing, we have to do a lot of things. Becoming innocent, managing those contradictory attributes of being smart in the world and innocent in front of God, and all that stuff. So all of that process is called spiritual, and that is where spirituality kicks in. So to your point, Ajitji, we have to become innocent like a kid, finally. And our job will be done.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to.
Yeah. We have to become. See, even in the case of world, right, mother starts taking a back seat when kid says, you know what, I can do my stuff. Mom, give me my space. And then the child, after a while, they will say no admission without permission. So mom says, okay, fine, go ahead and do your stuff. So as kid starts having a lot more pride and ego about their own abilities, the mother also starts taking a back seat. And we are no different. We have done the same with God. Right? God also starts taking a back seat around it. So that is the problem, basically. And then spirituality says you again have to go back to the same thing. You have to become as innocent as a child when it comes to God and Guru, and then the job is done. Basically, they'll start taking care of you. Yeah. So that is called Antakaran Shuddhi. The more purer we become by aligning to spiritual principles, the more innocence, childlike innocent surrender will automatically manifest. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rahulji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. There is a beautiful bhajan of Maharajji where he explains that when we were lying upside down in the mother's womb, then we took a vow to Shri Krishna that please, we are in a lot of pain, please take us out and we will remember you. So that vow we have to again remember and then become like a.
So we take that vow that in this lifetime, I'm going to break all the records in devotion and attain the goal of my life. But when we come out, we forget that, and that cycle repeats. And then when we depart this world, again our mouth is wide open. Oh my God, this was the whole drama. This is whom I thought were really mine, and again have wasted that opportunity. So spirituality is all about making sure when our slideshow of our life is in front of our eyes, when we are about to depart this world, again our mouth is not open. Oh my God, what did I do? It happens after, and again we forget. This is the whole idea. Yes. So like I said, we are going to talk about this concept of intention we have spoken about, and we will talk about the different kind of karmas and what is the biggest bane of humankind. Biggest bane is what we are going to talk about tomorrow when we talk about intention, and go a little more deeper into this topic in the next couple of sessions. Yes, Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe, Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe, everybody. Nitin ji, let's say hypothetically we are able to, do so much bhakti that Krishna dissolves our karma. So then let's say another 10 years or 15 years, this happens, and then we are left with no karma. So will we leave our material body and go to Golok?
We are left with no karma. Yeah, so this is how it works basically. The day you perfect your surrender, right, there is not even a nanosecond or a second's delay from God's side where he'll burn off your entire karma. Okay, it's done. It's done. Now, depending upon whether you have sought moksha or you have sought God in his personal form, you would either merge with him, which is called nirvana or moksha or brahmanand, or go to his abode if you have perfected devotion in that particular bhav. So there's not even a moment delay. They're done, basically gone. Right? So God will give you an upgrade, and you may choose to continue to live out your prarabdha. See, God realization happens when you are alive. It doesn't happen at the time of death, because death
Right.
is a two-step process. First you fall unconscious and then you depart. So God realization typically happens when you are alive. You are very much in your senses. And then at the time of your death, after your prarabdha is done for this life, you can consciously choose to exit your body and then go to your next abode. It could God's abode or wherever.
So prarabdha is also from the previous life, right?
True.
So Krishna dissolves prarabdha too if we perfect ourselves.
Yeah, so that is what he has promised in Bhagavad Gita in 18.66, that Sarv dharmam parityajye mamekam sharanam vrat aham tvam sarva papabhyo mokshasi. Basically, he says that I'm going to burn the stockpile of your entire previous karmas. See how nice it is.
Yes.
See what happens. Our karmas, prarabdha is so big, it's like an ocean. We cannot exhaust it. If you continue to do karma yoga, perfect non-binding karma in every life from now till eternity, emptying that ocean is just like a sparrow trying to, the other day I was telling a story, a sparrow trying to exhaust an ocean by lifting one drop at a time. Not possible, impossible. So this matrix is such that the only way you can get out of this matrix is by perfecting your surrender to God. And when you perfect that, then God says, you know what is my mercy? I'm not going to keep account of your past karmas. I'm going to just let go of it, burn it for you, and you are done deal at that point. This is the biggest promise from Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita, which is a huge mercy, right? He said, okay, done deal. It's like you were under what you call loan, huge loan, trillions of dollar loan, and somebody says, you know what, loan is maaf, gone, no more loan for you. So such a nice thing. It becomes an election, mudda every here that, okay, all the farmers, their loan should be absolved. So God says, I'm going to absolve you of all your past karma loans. Done. And that is what he's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. 18.66 is what it talks about.
Thank
you. Check it out here. Okay, all right. Do we have anything? I know we are getting to the close of our end. Maybe one more question from Anjuji. And then we have some announcements, right, to make around the Seva thing. It's a very important thing. We can talk about that before we move to our devotional segment. But thank you again for turning back in full force. And from tomorrow, it's going to get even more intriguing. We'll get more deeper into this concept. Yes, Manjuji?
Hello, and Radhe Nitinji. The biggest being, like what you were talking, is it a memory?
The biggest what?
Bane you were talking, right?
It is not memory, but I will keep it as suspense for tomorrow.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Radhe.
Yeah, let it be a suspense for tomorrow.
Okay.
Are we good then? So we are good to make the announcements. Sunday, you wanted to make?
First of all, I have been receiving some messages regarding nuggets from the recent life transformation program. So it was full of lots of nuggets. There were a total of like 14 golden rules, and we have our social media platforms on which many of those glimpses are shared, along with excellent questions that were asked and answered by Swamiji. So check that out and you will learn a lot, and you will see how exciting the life transformation program was. And it will also encourage you to register for the upcoming spiritual retreat in Dallas. People who cannot come physically can also attend it virtually. So that link has been shared multiple times in the chat. So please check that out. There is, I guess, an early bird discount going on right now if you register right now. So please make the best out of it. So that's the first announcement. The Dallas Spiritual Retreat from September 2nd to September 4th. Then immediately after that, we have Janmashtami celebrations. So September 6th is Janmashtami. And we will have like a 5-day long grand celebration of Janmashtami at the Radhakrishna temple. So check that as well out. And then, yeah, we have like a grand Diwali event coming up. I know it's too early to announce about Diwali, but this is like so big that we can't stop talking about it. So check that as well out. So I think these are the main announcements, and feedback tracker, I've posted the link. So if you have any questions, comments, Nitinji will look at it and he'll get back to you. So please fill that out, even if there's any feedback for the classes. Should I move on to the Seva scoreboard, Nitinji?
Yeah, please do that. And then some of the key concepts as they intersect with our session, we will be bringing it to the Bhagavad Gita sessions as well. So all the notes that I have taken, which map to Bhagavad Gita as and when we get to that shloka, you will get an in-depth discussion on that, including Bhakti Shatak for that matter. So stay tuned on that as well. Yes, please go ahead on the Seva.
Okay. So for the new people, we have ongoing Seva teams here. 4 teams led by 4 amazing people. And they're great team members. So we have some kind of a scoring system in place, which keeps, I think, everybody's energy high. It's just, so we wanted to cheer the people who have been consistently, participating actively and filling up their scores. So we have 4 teams, Selfless, Enthusiastic, Vinamra, and Ananya. As you can see, Seva. And Ananya team by far is just performing the best. And we know the major reason behind it is the secret of Anita ji. Like she shares all the posts at lightning speed. So like she is just class apart in this context. So cheers to all the teams for this constant growth in their scores. And specifically, I would like to point out Prabhat Bhaiya's name for highest scores in liking the post, Anita ji for sharing, Sam ji for comments. And we have a community portal on which we share the class summary, as well as people can share their different insights into spirituality. We can have discussions. So in that, Jyoti is the most active participant. Yeah, and I think overall total scores as expected, Anita ji is leading. We have a Manthan Seva, and for some reason people are not updating that score. So I would again request people, I am hoping that most of you are doing Manthan Seva, so please update that as well over here. This is it from my end, Nitin ji.
Please do, and if you want to be part of one of the teams, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to put you with one of the team captains. We will revive some of the presentations. We have thrown an open offer right now. Nobody has got that.
Bonus points.
For the bonus points, if you want to come and present about your experience and how Seva has been helping you or otherwise anything, you're going to get bonus
Manthan Seva also, like whatever videos you have watched and churned, you're most welcome to come and share your experience and learning over here at this platform with everybody.
Yep. Great. Thank you for sharing that scoreboard. And maybe we would like to have Anita ji one of the days come and tell us the secret sauce around how she's able to outperform everybody else with the Sevas that she's doing. It would be interesting to know. And every week we will announce a weekly winner. And we will reset the score going forward.
And I've just received this question, how do we join the team? So yes, in order to join the team, you just put your name in the feedback tracker, put your request, and then we will take it forward.
Great. Thank you again. Now let's move on to our devotional segment. Do we have anybody who's going to do the chanting, take the honors? Kavita, have you completed your Kavita? Good. Kavita is there. Then anybody else? So let's start with Kavita and then Sandhya is there. All right. Time permitting, I'll also do something related to the Friendship Day today because it's Friendship Day. So I can have a couple of lines too. So you're welcome to stay back. Typically after 10, we move to the devotional segment where once we have discussed the philosophy, we want to put an icing on the cake by doing some chantings, recitations, and that's typically the format we follow. So you're welcome to stay back. Yes, Kavita, go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya, Radhe Radhe everyone.
Hmm?
So
Please.
it's a very short bhajan from Krishna Kathai. The serial used to be telecast on the DB National in 90s. It's a very short bhajan. तो जब कृष्ण सुदामा के चावल हाथ में लेके खाने वाले होते हैं तो तीनों लोग डर जाते हैं कि अगर कृष्णा एक एक चावल के दाने का मोल चुकाने लग गए तो पूरी सृष्टि में सिर्फ सुदामा ही धनवान रह जाएगा. तो ये ऐसे है. प्रेम के भूखे हैं, प्रेम के तेंदुल प्रेम के भाव से खाने लगे हैं. तेंदुल के दानों में दीन का दरिया दीन का दुनिया दर्द चबाने लगे हैं. एक एक मुट्ठी में एक एक लोग एक एक मुट्ठी में एक एक लोग सुदामा के भाग्य में जाने लगे हैं. त्रिभुवन पति की देख उदारता तीनों भवन थर्राने लगे हैं. त्रिभुवन पति की देख उदारता तीनों भवन थर्राने लगे हैं. पहली मुट्ठी लेते ही प्रभु ने स्वर्ग सुदामा के नाम किया है. दूसरी मुट्ठी में पृथ्वी लोक का वैभव विप्र को सौंप दिया है. तीसरी मुट्ठी में देने लगे जो वैकुंठ तो लक्ष्मी ने रूप दिया है. अपना निवास भी दान में दे रहा कैसा दानी मेरा पिया है. It's actually very short.
Very nice. Loved it. See how much it's a very nice trait to get into with Lord Krishna. You give a grain of rice and he's willing to give you one of his lokas, right? Pretty amazing. The precondition is with love, of course, right? Very nice. Thank you for reciting that and helping us revisit that Leela through a beautiful poem. Loved it. All right. I think Varsha ji had raised her hand. Varsha ji wanted to ask something or sing today? If you are there.
And that was Lakshmi ji, right? Yeah, Lakshmi ji, do you want to say?
Okay, I see two more hands. So yes.
Small bhajan. Can I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, Lakshmi ji, please go ahead.
Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Lakshmi ji. Very nice, beautiful bhajan on Happy Friendship Day. So thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm going to recite a couple of
thank you.
and then Urvi and Sandhya can come. Okay, this is one before I forget. My memory is not so strong, right? So let me do that quickly. It's a bhajan related to Friendship Day only, where we are going to call upon the friendship of Lord Krishna. अलबेलो हमारो यार प्रेम के बंधन में. अलबेलो हमारो यार प्रेम के बंधन में. नहीं जात समाधिन जोगिन जे नाचत ताथे ताथे थे थे ब्रज नारिन की तार प्रेम के बंधन में अलबेलो हमारो यार प्रेम के बंधन में ब्रह्मांड अनंत ही पाल जे छोरत मुख करही ग्वाल ते बने घोड़ा गवारन ग्वार प्रेम के बंधन में राधे गोविंद गोविंद बोल राधे राधे गोविंद बोल. All right, so in this one basically says the one who feeds the countless universes, he's the one that with his cowherd friends he becomes a horse for them to ride upon, and he says, kick me. See, in the normal world we tell our friend, okay, you become the horse, I'll sit on you. In this one, God is saying, I'll become your horse, you sit on me and take me. And even though he's feeding everybody, and then when he's sitting, he's snatching food from everybody and eating. That is the kind of friendship he relishes. Anyways, so let's move on. I see 3 more hands, and then let's continue and with our remaining participants. Go ahead, Urvi, and then Sandhya, and then Payalji.
Radhe Radhe Urvi.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, I'll sing Nit Seva Mangu.
Sure.
Nit Seva Mangu Shama Shama Teri Na Bhukti Na Mukti Mangu Main Nit Seva Mangu Shama Shama Teri Na Bhukti Na Hi Mukti Mangu Bade Bhakti Nishkan Nit Meri Na Bhukti Na Hi Mukti Mangu तो ही पाते तो जना ही प्यारी वनवारी सुनो विनय कृपा मेरी न भुक्ति नाही मुक्ति मांगू मैं. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe Urvi, very nice. Hope you are all settled at your new place and good to see you back. Wish you very best. Loved it. You may want to check your audio because when you go in high pitch, your voice trails off. So that audio you may want to fix a little bit. It can happen with Zoom at times. But yeah, good to see you back in action. And thank you for the beautiful, beautiful bhajan on Seva. All right, Sandhya, next. I see. And Sheetalji is also going to sing today. It's very nice. Yes, Sandhya, go ahead.
It was a little longer. I'm thinking if there are others, I can just go either at the end or tomorrow.
No, let's check it out. That's Sheetalji. I think I see a new hand. So Sheetalji, you wanted to sing as well?
Yes, Sheetalji, you will have to unmute. Yeah.
Yes, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, so I would like to sing this, my feelings into the song. तुम प्रेम हो तुम प्रीत हो मन मीत हो कान्हा मेरे मन मीत हो तुम प्रेम हो तुम प्रीत हो मेरी धड़कन
तुम प्रेम हो तुम प्रीत हो मन मीत हो कान्हा मेरे मन मीत तुम हो जहाँ मैं हूँ वहाँ कान्हा तुम हो जहाँ मैं हूँ वहाँ तुम बिन नहीं है कुछ यहाँ तुम हो जहाँ मैं हूँ वहाँ तुम बिन नहीं है कुछ यहाँ मुझ में धड़कते हो तुम ही मुझ में धड़कते हो तुम ही तुम दूर मुझसे हो कहाँ तुम प्रेम हो तुम प्रीत हो मन मीत हो मेरे मन मीत परमात्मा का स्पर्श हो कान्हा परमात्मा का स्पर्श हो पुलकित हृदय का हर्ष हो परमात्मा का स्पर्श हो पुलकित हृदय का हर्ष हो तुम हो समर्पण का शिखर तुम हो समर्पण का शिखर तुम ही मेरा उत्कर्ष हो तुम प्रेम हो तुम प्रीत हो मन मीत हो कान्हा मेरे मन मीत हो तुम प्रेम हो तुम प्रीत हो मेरी धड़कनों का गीत हो थैंक यू नारायण नारायण
Thank you, Sheetalji. Very nice. It's a very beautiful song from Radha Krishna serial, right? I used to watch that with our little one. And it's a very, very touching and a beautiful song. So thank you so much. I think you're the first one who has sung that on this session. Thank you so much. Sheetalji, are you from Dallas or?
Yeah, we met Sheetalji in LTP as well, right?
Or is it the same Sheetalji?
I don't know.
No. I'm from Pune, India.
Okay.
So it's a different Sheetalji. Welcome. Sheetalji, have you been attending our sessions for a while?
Yes, since 2 weeks I'm regular, but last week I missed you. But yes, 2-3 weeks I'm regular and I liked it very much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Nitin ji.
Pleasure to have you on the session. Thank
And
you.
everyone, thank you so much.
Yeah, and you also may want to check your audio, because when you go in high pitch, sometimes Zoom does not cooperate. So maybe something tweak is needed to get that, but loved your song. So thank you so much, Sheetalji. And
Thank you.
just loved it. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, Payalji next, and then Sandhya, last but not the least. Go ahead, Payalji.
Yes, Payalji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So happy to be back and missed you all so much.
We had a
And
pretty
we were
long
not
break.
we were not that fortunate. हमें मौका नहीं मिला LTP attend करने का, but एक दिन जरूर करेंगे. Okay, yeah. So since Adhik Mas was going on and I was listening to Bhagavad Gita, so I came across this beautiful poem. So I just thought of sharing with you all. So it goes like, यूं ही नहीं मिलता नंद लाला बड़े दुख उठाने पड़ते हैं चौखट पे उसके सिर रख कर नित आंसू बहाने पड़ते हैं यूं ही नहीं मिलता नंद लाला बड़े दुख उठाने पड़ते हैं चौखट पे उसके सिर रख कर नित आंसू बहाने पड़ते हैं रस खान को ब्रज बुलवाया था जब अपना आप लुटाया था इस दिल के अरमान सभी मोहन पे लुटाने पड़ते हैं यूं ही नहीं मिलता नंद लाला बड़े दुख उठाने पड़ते हैं मीरा ने उसको पाया था जब अपना आप लुटाया था आंसू से बेली सींची थी दिल भीतर हरी बसाया था मोहन के विरह में हंस हंस कर विष सिंधु पचाने पड़ते हैं यूं ही नहीं मिलता नंद लाला बड़े दुख उठाने पड़ते हैं यूं ही नहीं मिलता नंद लाला बड़े दुख उठाने पड़ते हैं थैंक यू सो मच राधे राधे
Nice, Payalji. Wonderful. Where did you get this poem from?
I was scrolling on the YouTube and somehow I came across one of the video and I just jotted down all the lines immediately then and there. So I just loved it and thought of sharing here.
Very nice. Thank you for bringing it to our session. Loved
Can you
it.
share it on the community portal? I just loved the lines. I would want to reread them again and again.
Sure, Sandhya, definitely. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Last
you,
but not the
Radhe.
least, Sandhya, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick as well, but yeah, let's.
Sure.
So I just love each and every line of this. So I thought I'll try to sing it, and you can see the meanings as well. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe मेरे दो ठाकुर गोविंद राधे भोरी भारी राधे गोविंद सीधे साधे तुम भी न भूलो मुझे गोविंद राधे मैं भी न भूलूं तो ही पल छीन आधे तू तो है दीन बंधु गोविंद राधे ऋण से अधिक मोही दीन बना दे ऋण से अधिक मोही दीन बना दे ऋण से अधिक नम्र गोविंद राधे तरु से भी अधिक सहिष्णु बना दे सबको दुसम्मान गोविंद राधे अपमान चाहूं नहीं ऐसा बना दे स्तुति सुनी फूलूं नहीं गोविंद राधे निंदा सुनी पिचकू नहीं ऐसा बना दे पर दोष देखूं नहीं गोविंद राधे पर निंदा करूं नहीं ऐसा बना दे तुझ से विमुख होके गोविंद राधे अति दुख पाया हरि अब तो क्षमा दे श्याम तू मिले ना मिले गोविंद राधे मिलने की तीव्र पिपासा बढ़ा दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे. That's it.
Very nice, Sandhya. Your bhajan vasana is definitely bearing fruit. We can see that. It's a beautiful bhajan, loaded with tattva gyan and pretty much the whole sar of scriptures. It's a very, very beautiful bhajan. If you simply listen to it, it's very simply stated, right? Apman chahu nahi, par dosh dekhu nahi, par ninda karu nahi. Everything is like the entire essence of what we need to know is given to us in such a beautiful ways. And thank you.
And what we need to practice every day. You know, actually what I realized on GK Yog radio, this bhajan comes every day morning. I'm
Every
sure
day.
in the evening also, but we can hear it again and again and, you know, implement in our lives. Try to do that. So I loved it. Thank you.
JK radio, it comes, I know it's a very wonderful resource to have. And when you hear it, it grows on you. It's a beautiful bhajan, Radha Govind Gita. And thank you for beautifully singing it and bringing it to. In fact, we can include excerpts from it in our session and map it to the shlokas, you know, the ones that we are discussing, because it's loaded with Tattva Gyan. So that we can do that as well. Great. Awesome. So happy to be back. It's always good to be in this Bhagavad Gita space. And we'll pick up rhythm, momentum, like we always do, and go really deeper into the coming shlokas, continuing on with the wonderful journey that we all are on. So thank you again for your enthusiastic participation, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Anything else from anyone? Last words? Shyamji? Hope you missed us. The feeling was mutual.
Yes, it was a long week. It was ऐसा था कि कब खत्म होएगा, कब शुरू होएगा, वो बीता ही नहीं, मतलब इतना लंबा हो गया.
अब हम इतनी लंबी ब्रेक नहीं लेंगे कभी. I figured out, you know, how things can be managed. So I think it was an unusually long break.
आप लोग तो वहाँ पे ऐश कर रहे थे, मस्ती कर रहे थे LTP में. हम लोगों को यहाँ पर समझ नहीं आया कि करना क्या है पूरा हफ्ता. Anyway, that's the way it is designed. और जैसे ना आज मुनगा जी कह रही थी हमें गोलोक मिलने के लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा. I want to just say one thing. Just be sure we already there. Do not doubt yourself. हम वहाँ पहुँच चुके हैं, मोनिका. हमारे प्रारब्ध कर्म कटे ना कटे, that's his problem, not ours now. Let him decide. But we are there for sure. और second thing जो आपने कहा था वो Rolls Royce जीता विष्णुदत्त. How do we decide कि I have Rolls Royce, कि मेरे पास बैलगाड़ी है या मेरे पास Porsche है?
Rolls Royce is human birth. Okay.
घोड़े
have that.
उसके नीचे is not human birth.
Rolls Royce means you have already gotten a human birth. Then you have gotten basically the spiritual spark. Then you are reading Bhagavad Gita, and then you are born in a country which already, you know, your mind is predisposed to accepting Lord Ram and Lord Krishna, right? So many things are going for you. So it's more than a Rolls Royce in that sense. So we have to make those graces count, is essentially the message was.
Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you so much. Yes.
I just wanted to add one thing, Nitinji. Like a lot of people are saying that they were missing the classes badly. And one thing that we learn in spirituality, the Viraha Bhav increases the intensity of love. So this will increase the bonding in our classes further.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Anybody who was missing the classes goodly? It was all badly. Okay. Yes, Kavita, you wanted to add something?
Kavita, you want, Uri has also raised hand.
Ruby wants to say something as well.
Okay.
Both of you can talk together. That's perfectly okay.
Yes, I'm unmuting both of
श्याम जी बोल रहे थे ना कि हम आप लोग वहाँ पे ऐश कर रहे थे, तो आप लोग वहाँ पे ऐश कर रहे थे, हम लोग यहाँ पे आपको मिस कर रहे थे. वही ऐड करना था.
ऐश तो क्या, हाँ मतलब
ये स्वामी जी के साथ ऐश ही हो रही थी.
हाँ, वो you can call it ऐश. You are undergoing a transformation for sure. Yes, Urvi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Actually, you know, after I came to Jaipur and I was amongst all the students, so one thing I realized was that in the seminar and all, people were asking questions like, you know, we become so stressed, so how can we manage stress? And more things were like, how can we avoid distractions in this world? And I was feeling like I have none of these questions and I'm so fortunate. And then the other teachers and those people, they were telling them that, you know, make sure that the people you associate with, they're good people, positive people. And I was like, I am associating with divine personalities. So I was feeling the importance of what I've received sitting over there. And I was so happy. And in the coaching, like, as of now, I've been able to make no friends, but I'm all by myself. And I imagine Maharaji, Swamiji, or Radha Krishna by myself. And I feel so happy about it.
Very nice. See, this is the practical benefits you can reap by reading Bhagavad Gita. And progressing on this path. Again, Urvi is a live example for that. Yeah, this is the first time you have come out of your home, right, Urvi? See, you are in such a good headspace. Our people would be crying, "Oh my God, I'm missing home. This is happening. That is, this is so." You are in such a good headspace right now, and it all boils down to how well you have assimilated these spiritual principles inside, right? So wonderful. Very, very nice to hear that.
Yeah,
Great.
and actually, I wanted to show one more thing. Like, I always keep Maharajji's and Swamiji's picture open in my room, so I feel good about that. And I wanted to show it. Just one more. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
On the bed?
Yes.
Little far,
Yes,
but
we
we
can
can
see
see.
that.
Yeah.
We can see that. We can see
Yeah.
that on your bed. Yes. Very nice, Urvi. You have it all sorted out. Your life is all set now.
Nitinji and little Urvi is growing up. Real life.
Urvi is growing up, and you have a lot of godmothers here. Okay. You can count on. Okay, a lot of godmothers that you can count on here. And a godfather also, okay? Shyamji, I'm not talking about you. Shyamji. Yes. So you have a lot of people you can bank on, Urvi, and wish you the very best. Okay. Get the rush of RAS now. And can't wait to see you succeed in whatever you do. Okay, wonderful. So great to be back. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we'll continue on this journey. And thank you again for turning in full force and showing so much of enthusiasm like you always do. Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.